Today we're looking at World War I, Year 4, 1917. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. The year of 1917 would see major changes in World War I as intense fighting continued and one major combatant abandoned the war while another world power would officially enter the conflict. In mid-January 1917, British agents intercepted a message sent from Arthur Zimmermann, the foreign minister of Germany, to the Mexican government. In the Zimmermann telegram, Germany offered to make an alliance with Mexico against the United States if the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies. Americans were outraged when they learned of the proposed alliance and were close to declaring war on Germany. Then, on February 1st, Germany resumed its policy of unrestricted naval attacks around the British Isles, sinking both military and civilian vessels. 2 days later, the United States officially broke off diplomatic ties with Germany. German U-boats and warships would go on to sink almost 500 ships in February and March, including several American vessels. On March 8, 1917, the Russian Revolution began as protests against the war erupted. Thousands of Russian soldiers joined the protest, and within days, Tsar Nicholas II, ruler of Russia, stepped down from the throne, and a new government was installed that promised to hold democratic elections. The other Allied nations quickly accepted this new government out of fear that Russia might completely leave the war. But the turmoil in Russia was not over yet. In mid-March, at the central point on the Western Front, German troops pulled back 20 miles and established a new, much stronger defensive position known as the Hindenburg Line. For months before this, hundreds of thousands of German troops had secretly dug new trenches with concrete and steel reinforcement, underground tunnels, and hidden artillery emplacements. On April 2, 1917, President Woodrow Wilson delivered a speech to Congress requesting the United States declare war on Germany. On April 6th, the U.S. officially declared war and joined on the Allied side. However, it would be several months before American troops would reach Europe. On April 16th, the French launched what became known as the Nivelle Offensive on the Western Front, named after the French commander Robert Nivelle. German intelligence had gathered information on the attack and knew it was coming. Within a few days, the offensive failed and the French suffered over 100,000 casualties. Also in mid-April, Vladimir Lenin arrived back in Russia after being exiled to Switzerland. Germany actually arranged for his transportation to return to Russia in hopes that he would spread his anti-war message there. But the following month, on May 19th, Russia officially declared that it would remain in the war despite thousands of soldiers and citizens joining Lenin's Bolshevik party that was against Russia's involvement in the war. On June 7th, British, Canadian, and Australian troops on the Western Front detonated over 600 tons of explosives that they had planted in tunnels that they had dug under the German position just south of Ypres in Belgium. Within seconds, nearly 10,000 German troops were sucked down into the crater, and the surviving Germans were forced to retreat. Shortly after, on June 25th, the first American troops arrived in France. Then, on the Eastern Front, on July 1st, 1917, Russia launched another attack known as the Kerensky Offensive. Similar to the Nivelle Offensive, the Germans had intelligence on the attack and were prepared. Again, within days, the offensive fell apart and the Germans counterattacked, forcing the Russians to retreat. On July 31st, the Third Battle of Ypres in Belgium began, with British forces attempting again to dislodge the entrenched Germans. The battle would continue over the next few months and not end until early November, with no significant gains made by the British. In late October, Austrian and German combined forces began to push into northern Italy. They pushed to just north of Venice, Italy, before halting due to supply line issues. Then, on November 6th and 7th, or October 24th and 25th, according to the Russian calendar, Vladimir Lenin and the Bolshevik Party took control of Russia from the provincial government. Known as the Bolshevik Revolution or October Revolution, Lenin established a Soviet government based on Marxism in which basically the ownership of private property was eliminated and the state or government took control of all means of production and business. Immediately, Lenin announced Russia would withdraw from the war and would be breaking alliances with any other nation. Then, on December 15, 1917, Russia signed an armistice, which is an agreement to stop fighting, with Germany. 1917 came to an end seeing the exit of Russia from the war, but the entry of the United States. The following year, American troops would arrive in full force, and the tide of the war would change. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.